Good morning, everybody, and good afternoon, everybody, for those on the East Coast and then west of there. My name is Rob Sabo. I'm the Group Product Managers for the Fuels Group here in Schroeder Industries. And we're here to present some information to you today, which is going to be a combination of where the diesel market is, where the diesel market is going, some of the misconceptions in the diesel market, what our OEMs are looking for today in innovative new ways to be able to support them through products, through innovation, share some of that with you for several of the new products that we have released and are also actively having multitudes of success with, and then wrap up as to why we're in this market and share with you guys that I know many of you guys are out there on the H&L side of the equation, which is about a $550 million market, but compared to the fuel side of the equation, it's about 4 times bigger, a $2 billion market segment. And we'd like to be able to show you guys how and where the opportunities are to expand into that market. So before we start, I'd really like to introduce my team. I'm very proud to have them both. I'm going to start off with Miss Kelly Coyne. She is our application engineers for the fuel group, certainly myself, and then also Aaron Keck. Aaron and I both started this group back in 2015, which really started with the technology side of the equation, and then us being able to take that patented technology, which is in our media design, and be able to integrate that into a new product line to be able to capitalize on that. So with that, I'm going to let Aaron kind of lead off as to what does the future look like.
Thank you, Rob. Yeah, to talk about the future, I always like to go back to the movie Back to the Future. I think all of us can really enjoy and relate. But that gave us a bit of a cinematic glimpse of what we thought the future was going to look like in the 80s and 90s. Now, at the time, that was a DeLorean strapped with a flux capacitor and ready to leap at a speed into the future, into the past, depending upon which version of Back to the Future you watched. But we even see that echoed today. In a similar characteristic, we see where DeLorean is looking to the future of their product line and looking at EV technologies and that movement within not only the on-highway industry, but what affects us today is that movement towards e-mobility and electrification. So there's a lot of questions left on our mind. And that one question is, diesel, where we're going, we don't need diesel. That's a question that we hear quite often, one that we hear from corporations and consumers alike, but we're here to dispel that concern. I think it's easy to throw the baby away with the bathwater when we consider electrification and e-mobility. Now, 2 articles that we've had to reference highlight that diesel power is here to stay for at least a long run within all of our careers here on the call. So electric vehicles within the military have been a critical part of what we look to as far as the indication of where fuel consumption is going. Much of the military vehicles are expected through 2035 at the minimum to continue using what we know as a common liquid fuel like diesel or jet fuel. Now, energy density of batteries is said to be a challenge, 2 orders of magnitude less than the jet fuel JP8 they're currently using. And because of the nature of electric power availability in the battlefield, recharging all electric vehicles just doesn't make a lot of sense given the current technology and where we stand. Now, if we look to the consumer market, we look to a company like Cummins, one of the major engine manufacturers that was published in OEM Off-Highway at the end of last year, that highlighted the fact that diesel still has a long runway. I love that phrase because it really highlights that this is an ever-changing and evolving ramp towards e-mobility. And off-highway equipment, married with that off-highway remote desolate operation of many of the machines we're using, make diesel a great solution and very difficult to replace with the battery and energy storage technologies we have today and even on the horizon in the near future.
One of the things many of us have heard is states. countries, areas of the global side of the world that are going to ban diesel engines, ban diesel or gasoline engines. You're hearing numbers of 2025, 2035, 2040. In just the last couple of weeks alone, both the CEO of Volkswagen, primarily a German, not only primarily, it is a German company, but based in Europe, it's one of their biggest markets, have said they are absolutely pursuing the electrification side of the equation, but it is absolutely unattainable to think that within the next 20 to 40 years, we would be able to even sustain an electrical vehicle domination in the world. The current systems, the current global grids that are out there are not capable of handling the amount of energy that's in today's grid and the needs for that. We hear about the blackouts here in North America, the rationing over in Europe. You get into South America where they don't even have that type of grid. The CEO of Toyota said the same thing. They're going to pursue the role, but by no means whatsoever is that going to be a primary or dominant area for where we serve. And where we serve, we are really focused on the diesel engine market. And I'm going to segue into that for a couple different reasons, but that is the real forte of not only where we've been, but where is coming. And many of those applications are utilized in agriculture, off-road, the marine. We're not in the on-highway side of the equation. So as Aaron had pointed out with the military side of the equation, how do you charge those vehicles in remote locations? How do you do multiple times? One thing to be able to have a vehicle that's capable of that, but the operation, that type of placement in there is the part that we're dealing with. So when we talk about the diesel engines in the market that's out there today, I actually got a little ahead of myself. Many of you have seen this in the field. It is a rendition of the Parker Raycor turbine series. It was first introduced into 1975, and it is still being currently used in today in the same present form. Some modifications due to that, but it's basically, you'll see that configuration either in a single filter, a double filter, and or a triple. That really hasn't changed over the years. In the advent of Tier 4, Cummins, who you'll see in this, had gone really with the same thing. They took a standard product that was off of their shelf and said, how do we manipulate that to work into the current market? How do we use this to go to the higher flow machines? And this is the current solutions that you have. Now, even looking at the Tier 4 solution, at this point here, that's a 23-year-old problem, 22, 23 years old. So what does the future look like? What we need to hear the voice of the customer. Us being a newer fuel group, one of the things that we really want to do is focus on, my group gets tired of hearing this, but we want to have a better mousetrap than what the industry has today. So looking at what the industry has today, we really went to the drawing board, went back to the basics and said, how do we hear the voice of the customer and what is going to get us to that level? Now, I'm going to share this with you before we share the design and what the outcome of this exercise has been. But in 2021, the NFPA basically developed a technology roadmap with the input of all the major manufacturers that are within the organization. And in order of prioritization of what they had come up with, there was really 8 significant factors that were a common theme across the board with all the major OEMs. And starting from the top and going down, these are all very, very important trends. And it's also going to directly develop into how we are approaching the market, not only with our products, our services, but the innovation. Increased availability and uptime, increased productivity and performance, compliance with the safety regulations out there, lower capital and operating costs, easier and more predictable maintenance, greater integration of technologies, including data acquisition, utilization, and ownership, autonomous operation, weight reductions with increased power density. How many of you are working with OEMs right now? And space is a considerable not only hindrance, but problem on all the current machines with all the newer things that they need to add to these machines. So when we look at what the past had offered, this type of product here, we really said, how do we help the customer by integrating all 8 of these things? And what you're going to see here is a direct result of that. And excuse me, September of 2021, we attended ConExpo. This was the hard launch of our GHCF. That is the GH coalescing filter, and our GHPF. GHPF is the particulate filter. But what you see here in comparison to the other slide that had the turbine series, the Fleet Guard series, or Cummins solution on here, what we've done is we introduced a single filter solution that can replace both of those applications in the field. Not only with a smaller footprint, a lighter weight, but also in the end with a much better performance package all the way around. So one of the things they were very, very impressed with, Diesel Progress saw that. They were looking for the innovations in the new technology. They offered to write this article, and they did, and it was all based on the product that we are releasing and sharing with you today in a multitude of different levels. So when we go back and talk about what we're doing to adapt the technology to meet today's needs, I talked to you about the article, talked to you about the 8 drivers. The key areas that we're looking at is increased availability and uptime. How do we do that? I mentioned earlier in the presentation that Schroeder had developed some very unique technology for the separation of of water through the coalescing technology that was developed during the advent of the Tier 4. There's a lot of different reasons for that. There's a lot of different reasons that we're just not going to go into today as to what drove those innovations, but it was problems within the system. Increased productivity and performance. Again, we've addressed that through media innovations. As you guys know, on the H&L side to the equation, we have higher efficiencies, we have higher dirt holding capacities, and we also have higher stable contamination removal overall within the system. Compliance with safety regulations, doing third-party testing, not only with our core products, but also some of the SBF elements that we're going to talk later about. So you have the assurance of not only what we validated in the lab, but it can be validated in the field and going forward with a confidence level of being validated by a third party. Engineered solutions, lower capital and operating cost. Well, when you just look at the picture of having 3 filters versus 1 filter in that smaller package, and I can tell you that I can offer that at a much better price point, i.e. a lower cost and a higher service life. Many people that are looking at that system today are saying, well, why didn't we know about this earlier? We want to know more. We want to get a prototype. We want to get a sample. We really need to be able to work with you on a new solution that we have. A lot of that is just sharing in the applications that you're currently at, finding the powertrain person that's there, looking at their fuel system, snap a picture, send it back to Kelly, Aaron, or I. Allow us to help you with that. But that can be for both onboard vehicles or on the bulk conditioning side to the equation. So that is really kind of one of the next steps, is really looking at the overall system. Yes, ultimately we want to protect the end vehicle that is going to the customer out there, not only for the customer, so they have the uptime, the reliability, whether it be a mining application or a refilling application or a fleet application. But by being able to do that, you also then can satisfy the OEMs that are out there. And part of being able to do that is to have a message that goes across the board and focusing on the fuel at each point of those delivery stations that are out there. So fluid condition monitoring, or in the world of H&L, kidney loops for fuel. But part of these that we're going to talk later about is being able to, again, offer the integration of these technologies, whether it's in a single filter, a duplex system, and or a fuel polisher.
Just with audio.
If you guys could please put your mics on mute, that would be great for everybody there. Thank you. And in regards to the fuel polishing, again, real monitoring, real-time sampling, autonomous operation, working with our filter systems group to be able to integrate their components, particle counters, feedback loops, fluid conditioning based on automation. One of the things we're getting a lot of work on right now, whether it be on the military and or forestry or ag, is looking at autonomous vehicles. Now we are talking about autonomous vehicles that run on diesel engines, but you need to be able to service, maintain those, and focus on those in the field. One of the things with today's current fuel filters that are out there, if you have a single filter engine and you have water in there, you need to drain that water out of the system, you must turn that engine off and able to do that effectively. We can provide solutions both with a single filter system and or a multiple filter system that are out there that can do that for the customer. We are one of the only folks that are out there in the industry today that has that technology. So another good discussion point. And as you guys clearly saw in the pictures that they're out there, is the weight reductions and the increased power density from going to the type of systems that you saw to a single filter. What you see here down at the bottom is our GHCF, the coalescing filter, the one that can replace 1, 2, or 3. The next one here is an HDP filter. It's a top load for mobile applications. We're going to talk about a success with that. It has an integrated electrical fuel pump on the clean side of the filter. That has been a very, very large warranty issue for many of the OEMs that not only do not have this integrated into their filters, but they also have that fuel pump on the dirty side. And it's one of the first things that turns out to be a warranty issue if you have bad fuel. Fuel pump goes out, the rest of the system goes out. You need to change that. That becomes a warranty. By having the fuel pump on the clean side of the filter, fuel pump never sees any dirty fuel, so therefore the longevity and the reliability lasts much longer. Some other applications with that as well. But with that, I'm going to turn over. We are going to talk about not only the GHCF element in our comparison testing that we did against the turbine series and the FBO, but also how we've taken these individual components and integrated these into the system. But one other thing before we get into that, I want to come back and talk about another focus of diesel engines. You guys have heard a lot out there about CNG, compressed natural gas, running alternative fuels. You cannot do that with gasoline powered engines because the engine blocks are just not strong enough or designed for that type of system. However, diesel engines can be run on a multitude of different fuels, from straight diesel to JP8, JPA, but they can also run on compressed natural gas with conversion kits. So it's a very, very nice product that can be utilized across the board. And I'm going to turn the mic over to Kelly Coyne here in just a minute and share with you what we've been doing on the compressed natural gas market. We not only have aftermarket availability, but also lines that can work with the OEMs, the fuel conditioners, and so forth. So with that, I'm going to turn this over to Miss Kelly Coyne.
Thank you, Rob. As Rob mentioned before, part of what we're doing is adapting to technology. One of the other things we're doing is adapting to the market changes, including the increased global interest in alternative fuels like compressed natural gas or hydrogen. The compressed natural gas, it's currently seeing a lot of growth in heavy-duty transportation vehicles and expanding into power production as well, mostly due to environmental concerns. It's low cost and eco-friendly. So it's a nice alternative to the traditional engines and a good counterpart to our diesel products lines. The CNG market itself is expecting to see a very large increase in growth over the years. Different projections put it out to different values, but any way you shake it down, it's growing, and there's quite a bit of opportunity to be seen there, especially as it's continuing to gain more acceptance on the heavy-duty commercial vehicles. One of the things that we're seeing, though, is that some of the current competitive marketers out there are having some issues with their lead time. So we've seen that there's an opportunity there for us to break into that market there by offering controlled lead times. We're building these to about a 6 weeks lead time after the receipt of order, and to keep our pricing in line or to be very competitive towards that. We've also are adding the potential with OEMs to create an opportunity for increased revenue there with the private labeling. So there's a lot of opportunity there to continue to grow. The filters that we're offering here are designed to be able to work with both our Schroeder best fit elements as well as some of the existing competitive elements that are out there in the market. These high pressure CNG housings are made with cast iron with nickel plated bowl and epoxy paint to them, which are standard features for the industry. We've also added the benefit that the bowl is slotted to accept the retaining tabs that are on some of the existing elements that are out there. It works with the standard tools that are existing for element service, and we have the option to include the drain kits or gauge kits that are, again, very commonplace in the existing market. The added benefit to these two is that these are assembled here in the USA, so we make them here in our facilities and have a great deal of control over the manufacturing lead time for them. So the sizes that we have available, currently we have both our 9 and 10 sizes available for immediate release, and we do have options for our 5, 13, and 17 sizes. Just contact us, let us know what you're looking for. The 9 and 10 are direct replacements for the B and C sizes, whereas the 5, 13, and 7 correlate to the Parker J Series A, D, and E sizes. We are offering these in a variety of media grades from 0.01 micron, 0.5 micron, all the way up to the 100 micron stainless steel water separator. For the porting options that we have, each of these are available based on their sizing for either the NPT or core lighting SAE size. It's appropriate for that overall housing. We're not tooled up yet for the D and E sizes. Those are soon to be released. The other sizes are currently available. And then as a continuation or expansion to that, we are also adding some medium pressure housings, whereas the other ones were the high pressure filters. We will be adding a medium pressure range, which is akin to the Parker H series. And all of these are available to quote by project currently. The housings for them are sandcast aluminum for the filter head and the cap, and all aluminum housings with the industry standard epoxy painted exteriors and optional drain kits, just as we have for the other ones. And again, these are produced here in the US, where we have the ability to control those lead times, best of market availability for the raw components here.
And one thing to add with this is we're focused here on the compressed natural gas side of the equation based on our diesel engines segue, or focus, I should say. But for any of you or those that are out there that have refrigerator dryer manufacturers for compressors, for shop air, the compressor manufacturers that are out there, each one of those systems uses coalescing and particulate filters in conjunction, many times multitudes of those in series. Very common to the Parker H series, the blue filters, or the Ballston red filters, or the Dominic Hunters that you see that are out there. These products can also carry over to those compressed air streams as well, and would be a primary product for, again, compressor manufacturers and also the dryer manufacturers for those associated with it. So we're looking at expansion of other markets as well. And with that, I'm going to then focus and go back to the diesel side of the equation and turn the floor over to Mr. Aaron Keck, the product manager of this group here. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. So along with our expansion into competitive replacements, we've seen a huge interest in the Parker FBO series in particular. Just knowing the current strain and struggle of supply chain and how that impacts a lot of the manufacturers in filtration, we've seen a great opportunity to produce a higher efficiency, higher performance filter that is essentially a form fit replacement. So in applications where there's a need to improve fuel quality for higher tier 3, tier 4 interim, and tier 4 final engine fuel systems without the need to completely R&R the existing filtration, using something like the Parker FBO as a great solution. We offer it in the standard media micron ratings using a full synthetic microglass media that we manufacture, which pairs up very well with our standard Z media elements. Also, we've developed and patented a 3-phase coalescing technology that we use in our standard catalog product line. We were able to adopt that technology and adapt it to fit within these housings. So it performs at a 5 micron as a standard particulate primary filter, and with the same 3-phase coalescing and water separation technology. Now, the materials of construction we've chosen are built to last, to be extremely compatible with the high water concentrations and the biofuel content that you'll find in today's fuels with a lot of the alternative energy initiatives that we see here within the US and globally. Our standard sizings are also available in both the 10 and 14-inch versions of these elements, so we can fill out the entire product catalog with a drop-in replacement using our best fit series.
And if one thing I just may add to this, which is very important, we have a direct fit or replacement housing for the FBO that you saw earlier in the GHCF element. If you're working with a customer that's currently using the FBOs today and you're able to displace them very easily, when we've had the opportunity to do so with our housing, you now have a drop-in replacement element to backfill all of the elements that they were buying from Parker. So they don't have to necessarily be hurt with that disadvantage of not being able to get those elements. You can offer the first fit and then also solution for the retrofit as well.
Absolutely. So along with that, we can't forget about the benefit of private branding and labeling. So along those lines, like we see here, if the interest is to replace the Parker FBO 60357, which is a 10 micron, 14-inch element, we are able to improve not only the performance and capacity. You can see that we're see in these images and the data shown that within the surface area alone, we're able to expand the surface area of the media by 68%. And using that full synthetic media on top of that additional area, we can increase the dirt holding capacity or filter life by over 400%, almost 450%, while maintaining a beta efficiency of near 10 micron. And so competitively, we're offering a better performance filter that will drop in place and marketed exactly for that 10 micron application. As I had mentioned, and as Rob had mentioned too, you pair this with existing solutions in the field, and now with private branding and labeling, you can protect your equipment in the aftermarket by upgrading this filtration for the legacy product and promoting the GHCF for a better filter option for new first fit installs. Now on the next slide, you can see some of the performance characteristics of the fuel water separation of our coalescing media. The red bars show the filtration performance at a range of 10 to 25 gallon per minute. Whereas with the existing incumbent Parker filtration media in-house tests performed according to SAEJ 1488, you can see where the efficiency drops off quite rapidly. At lower flows, almost all fuel water separation efficiency performs measurably well. But in this case, we can see where it falls below 92%, which in this test produces more than 200 parts per million water downstream, which exceeds many of the industry standards for maximum water content downstream. And we can see where that efficiency drops to 0 for the higher flow rates, knowing that it's not effectively removing the water that's needed to be stripped out to protect the downstream engines. Now, we talked about the bulk fuel filtration and our best fit offering and an expansion into CNG, but we also see where there's a great interest and a need in the market for fuel polishing. Within the power generation market specifically, we've received a lot of interest and have had a lot of success in replacing existing fuel polishing systems by displacing existing technology and by adding some additional technology, integrating particle counting, automation, and things that would align with our movement towards the Internet of Things and Industry 4.0. So with a fuel polishing system, we can provide a turnkey, intelligent, automated system that really provides the same safety shutdowns and interlocks that everyone's familiar with and expects, but with an improved filtration package, with robust design and materials of construction that are built to last the life of the equipment in the installation. With this product offering, we are offering both an enclosed and an open exposed frame version. And the reason being, in many of the generator enclosures, there's not a need for a secondary redundant enclosure. You can save cost and you can improve the accessibility to the filter housings and any of the additional filter system components for service, troubleshooting, and maintenance. Now we have it sized with probably 80% of the market requiring a flow rate of 5 to 20 gallon per minute, and many of those can be built operating off of a standard single phase service. But we can expand to meet even some of the most extreme application requirements, high volume fuel systems that require 25 to 50 gallon per minute with our BDF2 filtration package, or going to a full bulk diesel skid based system at 50 to 70 gallon per minute, if not higher, if the application demands it. So a full product offering of enclosed and open style drip pan versions with framework, pump motors, and that really unique value add automated control system. So as we continue to expand this product offering, we're also looking in areas where we see, especially in power generation, where critical uptime is key, the need for duplex filtration. So our first efforts have been in providing duplex solutions for both our particulate filters, our GHPFD for the duplex configuration, and our GHCFD for our coalescing duplex configuration. Now, these are built for both pressure and suction side installation, since many of these high flow engine fuel systems can be applied either way, either as a suction first stage primary fuel filter or in transfer filtration with a transfer pump used. The same media grades are available as our standard catalog product, and we're designing it to be somewhat modular, allowing for porting configurations for top, left, right, bottom, inlet and outlet porting to really fit each specific end user's installation requirements. Along with that, standard indicators and valving are going to be a key part of integrating this product, allowing for easy element service during when that indicator indicates that it is time for an element change.
So why are we chasing this market? Why are we focusing on it? Well, again, it's not going to be an obsolete technology. It's going to be around for our lifetime and into the lifetime of the future folks that are out there. But the market is looking for change. They're looking for new suppliers. They're looking for innovation. They're looking for solutions that meet today's problems. When you look at the current H&L market that's out there, published information, it's $540 million market that we're all trying to take market share from different folks that are out there. When we look at the fuel side of the equation, though, it is a much bigger market, almost 4 times that size, and that's just here in North America. Now, these two markets, most of the time, go hand in hand. You're working on hydraulic systems that are provided through a hydraulic pump for PTO or vice versa, or whatever that may be, but they're run by diesel engines. And those diesel engines are in all these opportunities. So what we're asking you folks to do that are out there is, if you're trying to find new markets, new channels, don't reinvent the wheel. Yes, there are opportunities to do that, but also reach upstream or downstream in some cases for the current customers that you have that are using these type of products. Bring us in to allow us to help you help your customer and in turn get this business. The nice part of many of these mobile applications is even in the smaller volumes, because once you're on there, the element annuity builds up. It is a revenue that's built over time. Many bulk applications as well, as we've discussed. But primary reason, there's a lot of opportunities for market share, and we own such a small portion of this market share, but have some of the best technologies that are out there. There's only a couple places to grow. And folks, I will also tell you too, within the entire system, the fuels group is one of the fastest growing opportunities that we have. When we share about some of the market segments and successes that we have, before I go in with a couple success stories, just the products that we reviewed with you today, the newer products that have only been out for the last year and a half, they have generated millions of dollars in new opportunities and revenue for us. We would like to be able to share that by growing that with you guys and allowing that to expand as well. Sorry, don't know why that did that. But just a couple things on the mobile side of the equation for people that are dealing with mobile customers. This is a recent application that we have with a major agricultural supplier. It is CNH. It's gone into production, so I will share that with you. But what I really want to share with you are these application photos. And you'll see these many times on not only larger machines, but you can see them on smaller machines too. And what you may see is you'll have an integrated fuel pump, which is, again, upstream of the filter. So if if you're in a low quality fuel, you have a bad batch of fuel, you have microbial growth, your pump can be susceptible to be taken out by that. Then goes through the fuel filter itself, sometimes in 1-2 stages for particulate and coalescing. But you also see all the piping that's involved in this. You see the space constraints that are taken up with these type of systems. It is very, very common in the industry. And if you snap a picture, show us what you've got, and you could be able to go from this over to what you see on the right-hand side is our HDP 600. It has an integrated fuel pump, which is what you see down here on the bottom with that black out there. It is available in a 12 or 24 volt configuration, but there's three major advantages to this. It's one, it is again on the clean side of the filter. So whatever fuel that goes through there, not only are the particulate removed, but it also allows it to be drained off of the water as well. So you'll get a much better robustness and reliability out of the pump. The other major thing that this can bring to the table is in larger applications where there's a long run and rise from your fuel tank to the engine. Either one of those could occur, but many times they'll substitute those run and rise with a fuel pump. It sometimes could be multiple fuel pumps in where you're at. Well, this system here has the ability of going all the way out to 10 meters high by 40 meters long in the worst application that we have right now. This also allows a customer to, again, consolidate their system, make a smaller system that operates in the same functionality that it does today and meets those 8 different objectives of what we are looking for from the NFPA for what customers are looking for today. So with that, we've shared a lot of information with you in our application successes. I would like to open up the floor for anybody here from my team. Kelly, Aaron, and I would be happy to stick around and answer any questions you all may have. So we appreciate everybody's time today, and thank you very much. And please reach out to us with any applications, and we'll be more than happy to help you succeed in that arena. Thank you and have a great day.